I don't really remember it because I was only 1 years old.
I was like about 4 years old, so I didn't really know what was going on.
I was about 6 months, and I think I was a little child, so I was in my mother's room.
I think I was in first grade, and we kept watching the airplanes crashing into the buildings. And I think that was the first time I actually saw it.
Yeah, I think it's difficult when you don't experience something yourself to fully understand the emotions that go into that type of event. But living through an event like that at an age when you can understand makes a big difference. And so I think for a lot of the current generation, high school students who weren't very old, and some kids who may not have even been born yet, it's hard for them to really understand what that's like. And so until each generation kind of has their own event that defines them and makes them who they are as a generation, and they have something that they can tell future generations. This is what I remember. This is where I was at when this happened.
I think it affected me because I realized how much hatred there actually is in the world and how much it actually affects our everyday lives when people just can't stand each other for no reason.
Well, I've heard it's impacted the world because it's just made security more forceful.
Uh, Definitely changed how we perceive things, Ever since that attack, I was just raised differently than other people, more cautious about things like airplane security and other things like that.
Do you know how the attack has impacted you?
No.
And I think now over time, as that becomes more distant in people's memories, and especially the younger generations who didn't necessarily experience that, they have to learn from the previous generations that did experience it. I think about Pearl Harbor per se. I have family members who were around when that happened, and they can relate, where they were at that time and how that made them feel. And I can have sympathy in a way and understand historically what happened there. I think that's why it's so important for younger generations to look to older generations to understand history, and not just what we read in the history books, but understand where was your family at that time? What was going on with them? It's our responsibility to carry on throughout each generation our history and what happens to us as a nation. I think there's a quote about, if we don't know our history, then we're doomed to repeat it. So that's why it's so important for us to understand what has happened in the past.